What's going on, guys? In this video, we're going to take a look at gRPC, and then we're going to create a Node.js gRPC server that will be called from Golang as the gRPC client. And if you want to learn data science with Python, check out Data Camp. There is a link in the description below this video. gRPC is a modern remote procedure call framework created by Google in 2015. But what is RPC? RPC stands for Remote Procedure Call, and it was created in 1981. It's a form of client-server interaction and a client-server architecture. The caller is the client and the executor is the server, typically implemented via a request-response message passing system. The client code looks like calling a local function that is known as the stub in RPC, even when this code is executed on a different computer. So the client uses the client stub to perform a request on the server, and the server stub is going to return a response to the client. gRPC is free and open source. It's modern, fast, and efficient. It's built on top of HTTP version 2. It's language independent and supports streaming, authentication, load balancing, logging, and monitoring. gRPC allows to define requests and responses and then handles all the rest for us. By default, those requests and responses, along with the RPC services and client stubs, can be generated with Protobuf in multiple languages. For the demo, I'm going to create a proto file where I'm going to specify the messages and the RPC services, and then I'm going to implement the service in Node.js and generate the code of the client stub in Golang to invoke the service. Remember to subscribe to the channel, and let's get started. Okay, I'm going to create a proto file. This proto file is going to include the definitions for the messages that are going to be the requests and responses between the client and the server. And also I'm going to include the remote procedures that is going to be basically the API of the service. So I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to call it posts_service. This is going to be just a simple service that is going to return a list of posts, and the extension is proto. First, I need to specify the syntax. That is going to be proto 3. That is the latest version of the language. And I'm going to specify as a message. I'm going to call it post. And it's going to include an int for the identifier, a string for the title, and another string for the text of the post. And now I'm going to create the service. I'm going to call it post service. And it's going to include just one remote procedure, RPC. That's the keyword to specify the endpoint of the server API. In this case, I'm going to call this endpoint get posts. In this case, I'm not going to pass any parameters. This requires to send at least an empty message. So I'm going to create one here, message empty. And I'm going to pass that here. And this is going to return a list of posts. So I'm going to call it post list. And I'm going to create a message using this name. Message post list. And this message is going to represent a list of posts. So I need to use the repeated keyword here. And the type of the elements, that is going to be post. Actually, this message that we created here. And the name of the attribute is going to be posts. And the number is going to be 1. And that's it for the proto file. Really simple. We have this data structure that is a post. Then we have an empty message, just to use it here, to pass it here, because we have to pass something as a parameter. And then the post list, that is going to be a list of posts that this endpoint or this remote procedure is going to return. Okay, now I'm going to create the Node.js gRPC server. I'm going to close this. I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it Node server. And I'm going to open a terminal here. And I'm going to enter to that folder, Node server. Here I'm going to run npm init. And now I'm going to install a couple of dependencies for gRPC and protocol buffers. So npm install --save, and this is going to be at gRPC /gRPC/js. And the second dependency is going to be at gRPC/proto loader. Okay, now I'm going to create an index file, index.js. And first I'm going to create a couple of variables to access the gRPC.js library and the proto loader library. So const gRPC equals require. And I'm going to grab this from here. And I'm going to create another constant to access the proto loader library. Const proto loader equals require. And I'm going to grab the library from here. And now I need to load this definition from this proto file. So const proto, and here I need to use the proto loader to access that file and to load that definition. Proto loader load sync, and here I need to use the path library. I'm going to import it first. Const path require path. And I'm going to use the join function. And I'm going to use the current directory name. And I'm going to access one level up and the name of the file, that is posts_service.proto. Next, I need to create a definition to load that proto file. Const definition, and here I need to use gRPC.load package definition. And this is going to be this proto constant that we assigned here. This line is basically loading the protocol buffer definition into the gRPC framework. And now what I need to do is I need to implement this service. So I'm going to create a function, const get posts, and I'm going to use an arrow function here that is going to receive the call and a callback. And here I need to return a list of posts like this. Callback. The first parameter is going to be null because we are not receiving any parameters. And the second one is going to be an object. And here we are using posts as the name of the attribute for this object. So we need to use that. And we need to return a list of posts. So I'm going to create a list of posts here. It's going to be an array. I'm going to call it post list. It's going to be ID 1, title 1, and text text 1. I'm going to copy this, and it's going to be text 2, title 2, and 2 as the identifier for this. Okay, and it's going to return this post list here. Okay, that's going to be the implementation of the service. Okay, now we have to define the server URL. This is going to be localhost, and the port is going to be 10,000. We need to assign the gRPC server to a constant. After that, we need to add the server implementation. We need to assign this implementation to a server that add service, and we need to use definition. Here is where we load all the proto file definitions into the gRPC framework. So this is definition dot post service dot service, and here we pass an object that is going to include the function that we created here. And after that, we need to initialize the server, and it's going to be server dot bind async, and here we pass the server URL. Here we should specify credentials, but in this case we're not going to use any certificates, so we need to specify that we're going to have an insecure server, gRPC that server credentials that create insecure, and then we need to start the server. Server dot start. I added a console log here, and I'm going to run this, and the server is running on port 10,000. Okay, now let's create a new folder to build the Golang client that is going to consume this service. So I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it Go client. I'm going to cancel this, and I'm going to enter to that folder. Go client, and here I'm going to execute go mod init, and the name of the module for the application, that is going to be gitlab.com/pragmatic reviews /gRPC POC, and that's it. Okay, now I have to install the gRPC library. Go get google.golang.com/.org gRPC. Okay, I'm going to clean this. Okay, now I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it services, where I'm going to use proto to generate the stub for the Golang client. So using that stub, I will be able to access from the Golang application, from the Golang client, to invoke the service that is running, in this case, in Node.js. Okay, now I'm going to go back to the root folder of the project, and I'm going to run proto-c here. Proto-c, I need to specify the source path and the file, and this is --go out because I'm going to generate the code for Golang, and this is plugins, and here I include gRPC. By default, if I don't include this is going to generate just the messages, just the structs and a bunch of functions, but just for the messages and not for the RPC services. So this is colon, period, and here is the target directory. That is going to be the one that I just created, go_client/services. Okay, let's run this. And now we have this Golang file with the post struct, with the identifier, title, text, a bunch of functions to merge, unmerge, size, and some others. And at the end, yeah, I have the empty struct. That is actually this one. And sorry, here. And I should have at the end the service definition. That is actually this one. Yes, this creates a client. This is going to be the stub interface. And this is the server interface. Okay, now I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to call it client.go. The package is going to be main. And I'm going to create a main function where I'm going to include the code to connect with the gRPC service. And using that connection, I'm going to create a client and I'm going to call the getPosts operation. So first I'm going to create a function that is going to create the connection. So func get gRPC client, and this is going to return a connection, gRPC that client con. And here I need to pass a couple of dial options. Dial is the function of the gRPC client to connect with the gRPC server. Here I need to create var opts, and this is going to be a slice of dial options, gRPC dot dial options. And I'm going to pass a couple of options here, gRPC that with insecure, because we are not using any certificates for SSL or TLS, and gRPC that with block. Okay, and if we go there, we're going to see that with insecure returns a dial option which disables transport security, because on the server side we are saying that we are creating an insecure server with no TLS or SSL or any certificate. And the other option that we are passing here is with block. With block returns a dial option which makes caller of dial blocks until the underlying connection is up. Without this, dial returns immediately and connecting the server happens in background. Okay, and now we are going to create a connection using the dial function, gRPC.dial, and I'm going to create a variable here because I need to declare the server URL. Server URL. That is going to be localhost and for 10,000. And here I need to pass the server URL and the options, like that. Okay. And here I'm going to receive either the connection or an error. I'm going to handle the error. If error is not new, I'm going to log fatal fail to dial, and I'm going to pass the error. Okay. And finally, I need to return the connection if everything goes well. Okay, so here I'm going to create the connection using that function, get gRPC client. I'm going to close the connection when the main function returns. Defer con.close. And here I'm going to create the client. And I need to use a constructor function from the services. That is part of the code generated here. And it should be new client or new, let's find it, new, here, new post service client. Okay. Service that new post service client. I need to pass the connection. I'm gonna need to import, yeah. I'm going to grab the module from here. And this is /services. Sorry, services, like that. Services. Yeah. Okay. I also need to create a context, and that context is the parameter, one of the parameters that I'm going to pass to the remote procedure that I'm going to call. So I need to use context that with timeout. And here I can specify the timeout that I want to use for the connection. Context that background, and here I specify the time. That's going to be 10 seconds in this case. Time that second. And this is going to return either the context or an error. I'm going to ignore the error for now. And here I need to use the client to get the posts from the server. And I pass the context. And I need to pass an instance of the empty struct, or the empty message that we specified here, that we are passing actually here. Okay, let's go back. And it's going to be services that empty, like that. And this is going to return either a list of posts or an error. And I need to handle that error. I'm going to log the error. And finally, I'm going to iterate over the slice of posts. It's going to be for underscore post range I need to use the getPosts method because this is going to return the post list. And if you go to the post list, we're going to see that we have a getPosts function somewhere here. Okay, and that returns the slice of posts. And here I'm going to print the attributes of the struct. Println, and this is going to be post.title, post.id, and finally post.text. Okay, I'm going to split the terminal in two, and here on the right side of the screen, I'm going to start the server here, node index.js. Okay, and I'm going to run the Go client. And as we can see here, we are getting all the posts that we created here. I'm going to cancel this and I'm going to add a new post just to check that it's going to return a new post that we add here. Okay, let's run this again. And if we run the Golang client, we can see that we get all the posts that we are returning here from the server. Okay guys, that's all I have for today. Thank you for watching and I see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.